Hey, what's up, guys? I got another deck list for you today. Now, I'm going to kind of run through this one pretty quick, but I'll give you some of the main combos of it. But it's Manipulative Cooler. The whole point of the deck is I wanted to just stack all the stuff that searches my opponent's deck out. Specifically the setups, Malicious Intent, Black Diabolic Scheme, and Black Searching Technique. Combine them with Black Scout Maneuver to just kind of completely cripple my opponent's deck and use a couple of cards to kind of finish them off. So I'll kind of talk about those cards too, but like I said, run through each of these. One Smoothness, one Absorption Drill. Absorption Drill has great synergy. Anytime I banish or destroy cards from my opponent's life deck, I get to top deck a card on the player's deck. It works really good because Diabolic Scheme can knock 2 cards on my opponent's deck when entering combat. It lets me top deck for when I'm going to go into combat with Absorption Drill, which is really good. It either sets up my draw, or if I'm the aggressive player, I get to set up a card to top deck to destroy with my Mastery effect, which is really good. I'll let you guys read this. I'm not going to go super in depth because I'm assuming if you're watching this, you kind of get the gist of the combos, but I have, of course, Malicious Intent does the same thing, and Searching Technique also picks cards out. Malicious Intent also top decks a card as well, so again, add synergy to the black card pool. And then, of course, Black Scout Maneuver, I knock 3 copies of a card out of their deck, as long as that's not a board card. 3 Black Command for anger gain. It is a when discarded effect. My level 1 and of 2, of course, have card effects that can discard cards from my hand, so really neat. 2 Schematics lets me have more deck search, as well as 2 anger. Can set me up better for scout maneuvers and such. 2 Sphere, I'd run it at 3, but meh. I don't really have too many events, and I'll just hold Sphere in the matchups where I really think I need it. I'm going to be just knocking out their powerful events with a scout maneuver anyway, so, or one of these cards. Time at 1. 3 resistance because anger and endurance. Corruption at 2. I had 3 because in my IR belt I forgot to put time, so I knocked it down to 2 to fit time. It's got a cool when discarded effect. It's got some anger control as well, which I like. We have knee, 2 anger card, and then of course Black Check from my physical blocks. I don't run Black Hop. The Mastery allows me to turn any attack that in my hand into a prevent. It's kind of a pseudo-protective Mastery, so I don't really feel like I need more blocks than what I have. What's cool is both Corruption and Check. In the matchups where I'm not going to be using the blocks, because of either it's against a slow deck or against a deck that's only throwing one type of attack, both of these cards having discard effects that are pretty good actually is really cool. So there's a lot more utility off of these two. Getting to the attack lineup, I run 3 Black Enraged Assault to help me pick through the deck quicker. If I see one of their good cards in the pile early, I'll just banish it with Black Manipulative Mastery or one of my other effects. What's really cool is like knocking out a 1 of a card with Diabolic Scheme, and then entering combat and throwing an Enraged Assault. If this hits, I go pick out all 3 copies of it out of their deck. So really cool. It's kind of like a pseudo scout maneuver in a sense, so just more ways to just completely rip cards out of their deck. Black Double Team, this is a combo piece. It's a life card attack. If I knock it off the top of my deck with a Destroy effect, which is my Mastery, I can go put it in my hands. Of course, I have cards to top deck this with, like Black Absorption Drill, as well as Malicious Intent. The third attack I want to go over is Black Shoulder Charge again. This card lets me top deck cards on both players' life decks. What's really cool is playing it, of course, on the defensive. If the opponent attacks me, I play this as a block, essentially. Top deck a card in both players' life decks, and then I use my Mastery's other effect to destroy the top card of my deck, the one that I top deck with the Shoulder Charge. Of course, this has got some clutch crit potential. I can top deck one of these, knock it off my deck to get a crit. I can set up Black Double Teams. I can set up Gut Crushers. A really good card. We have 3 Shattering Strike. I run this card because it's got a bunch of endurance. If you reveal it on the defensive with your Mastery, it's 2 anger, so just good. Gut Crusher is kind of in here just because it's unpreventable damage. If I've destroyed cards from my deck, grabs my Absorption Drill and my Smoothness Drill, so it sets up kind of my control a little bit more, which is really good, and it's just a really beefy attack. Wall Breaker in here. So the whole idea is against anger decks, I'm going to knock out all of their Wall Breaker tech and any cards that can deal critical damage. Things like Red Stack Shot, Red Mule Kick, Trunks Knee Bash, Piccolo's Lethal Chop. I'm also going to knock out things like Orange Investigation Drill, After Image Technique if I see it, anything that can kill attach cards and such, like Woof. So I'm going to use, once I knock out their Anger tech, or sorry, their Wall Breaker tech, I'm going to slap a Anger deck with Wall Breaker. The same thing goes with another card I'll get to. But Wall Breaker is how I beat Anger decks. Sagacious Strike is how I kind of beat ball decks and kind of slow down Anger decks and ally decks. It's just a clutch whenever you need it, unstoppable critical damage attack. It knocks off enemy wall breakers, which is really good. And honestly, just great card. Been really, really clutch in my testing with this deck. We get into the 3 energy attacks that I have. I run Supernova at 3. It's got a really great effect that if it's in my discard pile, I can rejuvenate for board kill. It's unpreventable damage and 2 anger, so it's another way to get rid of Wall Breaker. Great card. Overhead Burst because it's 2 anger. Against the ball matchup and ally matchup, there's going to be times, especially ball matchup, there's going to be times where I'm drawing blocks and they're not really going to do anything because the ball decks are going to be like not throwing attacks. So if this Overhead Burst can hit them, I can just drop that block to get a nice effect. So, and of course they have some of their discard effect cards, so it's got some nice synergy. But I can always play this on the defensive for 2 anger. And then Black Capture at 2. So just like how Wall Breaker is kind of my way that I beat Anger decks, Black Capture is kind of the way that I'm going to beat ball decks. So the whole goal is I'm going to use my 3 deck searchers setups. I'm going to use my Scout Maneuver, and I'm going to use my Enraged Assault I'm going to try to kill their ball searchers, their setups and things that search Dragon Balls, and then I'm going to try to knock out their blocks with Enraged Assault and Scout Maneuver. And then I'm going to be able to land Black Capture. And then, of course, between Black Capture and Wall Breaker, these cards are really hard to knock off because if I've taken away your ability to do critical damage by sniping your deck out, it's going to be with your main cards that already give you that, either direct attach card hit or direct critical damage, I can sit here and play defensively with my Mastery and all my blocks and my Rejuve and just make it so you can't knock them off. So Black Capture has great synergy, of course. Banishing cards off the top of your opponent's deck is the way you get rid of the ball. It has great synergy with Absorption Drill to help you top deck as well. So this deck can very easily function on 1. It can very easily function on 2, 3, or 4. It can level. You're just consistently going to be hitting 2. Most games you can definitely hit 3, and then you can definitely hit 4 every once in a while. This is by no means a turbo anger. Honestly, I think 2 is his best level because it's a free attack. 3 you can get kind of stage locked and slow down on, but all his levels are really, really good. So it's a really fun deck. I really like it. You can play pretty aggressive with it if you see the right hands early against the passive decks. You can definitely play a bit slower and because of all the rejuvenation on his levels, you have a lot of recovery if you kind of get behind. And then of course you're just going to be, every time you're going into combat, ideally you're going to be knocking out some of their best cards out of their deck, and you're going to be killing their pile recursion with Manipulative Mastery. And once you kind of get to a point, you kind of just the hardest part of the game with this deck is going to be this first I'd say combat or 2 is going to be the hardest because they're going to have most of the deck intact. But once you knock out if you know how the deck works, the opponent's deck works, you knock out their key cards. It's just a matter of you slowly squeezing them and just rejuvenating and killing them. Fun deck. I don't think this is ever going to win by MPPV. I could definitely see maybe some cards being knocked out, but I really, really like this build currently. I think it pushes a fun gimmick of just running all these deck search and banish cards. So anyway, let me know what you think. I've been having a lot of fun with this deck in testing. Not perfect by any means, but I really, really like it. Hope you guys are out there having fun. And yeah, if there's something you want to see, if I get some free time, I'll make it. I have a lot of decks that I have made that I have not done lists on. And I have a lot of decks kind of in my thought process, especially stuff regarding the new set of 7 Dragon Balls, Super Dragon Balls. So I'm excited for the new set. Yeah, take it easy, guys. Peace.